I'm always playing for that sweet spot of making something that the audience wants to continue to see.
Initiate sequence.
What is this place?
This is potentially the start of another whole franchise, and you know you helped be an architect for the Fast and the Furious. So tell me about when you come into something with potential like that. Do you have advice? Do you have some things that you know you can lay down that will help a whole lot?
Well, of course. Whether people want it or not. Everyone knows that I was opposed to sequels in the beginning of my career, and that's because, you know, the best movies that were near and dear to me didn't have sequels. So I was resistant. And of course, as we remember in the 80s and the 90s, the studios were making sequels in almost a shameless way. They were just making a new film and branding it and not doing the work that a Coppola would do to continue the story. So once the studios were willing to back me on continuing the story, that's when I agreed to do the sequel and to continue the saga.
I'm sorry to be the one to tell you this, but you got yourself killed. Now tell me, do you remember anything?
I had read that your son was with you when the initial pitch for this, and now that you have kids that are of the age where their interest can actually let you see a part in a different way?
Well, it was something that I discovered with Groot, the only other pre-existing character I've ever played in my career. Marvel sent over a book of superheroes, and he pointed to this tree. And I looked at him like, really, Vincent? And he's only 3 years old, and I'm like, okay, he's saying something here. And then, you know, I go off and sing to myself and think, does my son think that I'm the vassal of nature? I remember we'd be driving up at the country house, and every time we'd see a tree, he'd say, look, Dad, your brothers and sisters. So, because of that, and because Groot has been such a delightful experience, a delightful association, I learned to, when we are thinking superheroes, to trust the wisdom of our youth.
Where are you going?
I've got unfinished business.
When I got the script, I didn't know that Vin was attached to it. So I just read the script, and I was like, whoa, this doesn't feel like an action film. This feels like a sci-fi film, but also emotional. This is weird. And look, the female character does have emotions, and she's not this flat-toned, badass chick. And I was like, wow, that's cool.
Do I know you guys?
I don't think so.
The idea that a story is being created and implanted into Bloodshot's mind as a memory to therefore act as a driver for Bloodshot to behave in a particular way, that is quite profound and it's brilliant. That's what it was about the script that I really liked and really wanted to get on, why I wanted to get on board.
You're the first who we've successfully managed to bring back, but improved, enhanced.
It's fascinating that he, in one storyline, is the protagonist, and then in the next storyline is the antagonist.
Oh, that's not good.
That's a dynamic, seldom seen character archetype in cinema. I remember coming out of Guardians of the Galaxy and Glenn Close saying, who would agree to do 3 monosyllabic words and then make people cry in the theater? Who would agree to that? Everyone knows that I like that challenge.
I have to ask both of you a little bit about the particular quirks that you guys chose to lean into, which are really great, that make you guys pop both. So we've got Gum for Dalton, and then we've got Hacker Chic.
I always thought that he'd broken his jaw, and in the explosion he lost his legs, and I thought, you know, he suffered other injuries as well, and I always thought there's like, I was trying to play with his jaw, like he's always feeling some sort of pain there, and I even used there's a little bit of scarring you can see around his jaw, and it's also like there's something about him, I think during the operation of getting his exoskeleton, I think he's when they're drilling into his brain and his back, I think he's lost a bit of his self, and for me there's like this it might sound ridiculous, but there's this kind of like dinosaur kind of prehistoric quality to him. I think he's a mouth breather. I think he breathes through his mouth.
Oh, you for sure are.
I mean, I definitely am. So yeah, that was the idea behind the gum.
When you come into a movie like this and you know you're going to be doing that third act kind of stuff with Vin, some CGI but some real, what was the thing that you were most worried about getting right on camera?
Yeah, not punching Vin in the face was probably the part I was most concerned about, because if I punch him in the face, then this movie could be halted for a few days. But no, I mean, I spoke to Dave initially, and he wanted me to get as big as I possibly could, and so I was shooting a TV show at the time, so it was hard to fit that in, but I did. I trained as hard as I could, and then we rehearsed all those fights over and over, and a lot of them, were practical, were real. We did do a lot of wire work, a lot of the choreography, and we shot them over a couple of weeks, and then went for pickups as well.
What you think is real sometimes ain't.
You have a pantheon of hackers to kind of look at as like, do I want to lean that way? Do I want to lean that way? Was there like a perfect hacker movie for you that you looked at?
No, I didn't want to look at any particular hacker movies, because they're always in the back of your mind, and as a performer, sometimes you subconsciously, channel different things that you've seen that will affect your performance.
That is absolutely fantastic.
I did know that I wanted to have a certain level of neurotic tics, and that's solely based on the amount of time he spends alone.
Exactly.
Yeah. So a person's by themselves, they feel so comfortable when you're alone. No one can tell you can't fart in your own room. Like it's
You can't?
no.
Oh.
If I'm here with you, it's inappropriate.
Oh, it is?
This is a room full of people. It's
Right,
inappropriate.
okay.
I just start letting them go.
Okay.
But if I'm by myself,
Right.
let them rip.
Got it.
I say this a lot, but he's a lot like how I am when I am alone. You know what I mean? When you're by yourself, it's like, how weird can I get? I got 30 minutes alone. How strange can I get?
We're getting an insight here, right?
Yeah, I get strange.
I'm not going around to your house.
I get
There's
real
therapy
strange.
happening right now.
Yeah.
I've been stuck in this room with him all day.
He loves it. He loves it. So you're comfortable enough if I just let him rip it?
Yeah, sure, yeah, it's good.
And initiate sequence.